This ad spent 7 figures across 8 countries on the whole world. This ad cut our CAC by 40% within 5 days. And this ad is our new top performer in the ad account. Hey, I'm Bernhard Trogrlic, founder of the agency, and over the past years, I've scaled 7, 8, and 9 figure brands through creative strategy. My approach is based on persona-based creative strategy. And through this, we've seen an average drop in CAC by 20 to 30% roughly. So in this video, I'll show you how I actually do that using AI. We just don't want creatives to look like realistic or just good. We want them to actually convert. So let's roll. Your ads have one job, okay? It's actually to make people stop, watch, and click. That's it, right? Well, afterwards they should buy, right? So you really need to be first creative, but have also a very good messaging. And a good messaging starts with understanding the persona. You need to hit the real pain points. And all you need for that is actually, you need to start thinking about who is your persona. People on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, they don't care if it's AI or not AI, right? They will still click and watch and buy as long as they feel a connection to the ad. Most people skip this very, very important part. They jump straight into tools, prompts, visuals, but they actually never ask, who is this for, right? What problem am I solving for them? And why should they actually care about me and not buy some other random stuff, right? That's why most AI ads don't really work, right? Because some people just using it as a shortcut to I want to be lean, I want to use a shortcut, have cool ads, push them out and whatever. And maybe they look interesting for a second, but they don't really connect with the people. And that's where no emotions are there, there's no relevance, and there's no reason to stay. Real good ads have always the same fundamentals, no matter if it's AI or not AI, right? We have a clear persona, that's always a persona-based creative strategy. We have a clear problem and we have a clear messaging. AI just helps us, execute it on a very, very good level. But if your foundation is weak, AI will just help you to fail faster, right? So you're just cutting corners and you will still do bad things. So let's actually talk about how we're doing it and how you should definitely start doing it from today. Most people don't know where to start, all right? So if you take over a brand or you're having your own brand, everything starts with research. And research has been one of the most difficult things actually because it took a lot of time. If you're a founder or you're a freelancer or whatever, you just don't have so much time, right? That's where AI helps us amazingly well, right? So if you have post-purchase service, go into Claude as I'm doing it, right? And throw in the post-purchase service. And I'm saying, this is the PPS of our brand displays. We want to create a direct response funnel, so we need to analyze the data plus create custom personas that we can use. Well, in this case, we wanted to be very specific and create a direct response funnel. But as I said, everything starts with understanding the personas. It goes through everything, etc., and it throws you a document, which is pretty amazing. There's an executive summary, okay? And it tells me the key findings. For example, 95% have been very satisfied with the product. They use it daily usage, 76% every day, and so on and so on. I also see where do they know us from because we asked them. We know they know us from Instagram, over 50%, which is amazing, okay? Very good for us. We understand the age distribution, what target audience are we talking to? Are we talking to young adults, old people, more mature people? As we want to be very specific and very native, depending on what lifestyle they have. So you have probably a different lifestyle when you're 20 or when you're 60, right? So we have to understand that to, visual the lives and talk to their problems better. And many other questions. For example, this is very interesting purchase barriers. We understand that for almost 50%, the price is an issue. So this will help us to actually create a very good cold-friendly offer for them. What they love, etc., etc. And now it throws us some personas. It gives us personas. Someone who's 35 to 54 woman. Her issue, her skin issues are for example, here rosacea. And when I see rosacea, this is a very specific condition, right? That I could then use as a messaging and talk about that. Also, when I see that rosacea, I could go back Claude and say, hey, let's focus on rosacea. What are the pain points? I could also go with rosacea to Reddit answer, right? And go to Reddit and just ask, what are common things with rosacea? What are the main issues that you're having throughout the day? What have you tried? What haven't worked, right? And just go through this Reddit research. But you could do the same in Claude, all right? And so on. I have a document now. And we went forward and we just thought about, okay, now we have 5 personas as you can see. Now I went back and actually asked him, hey, look, what of those 5 personas has actually the biggest total addressable market, right? Because you also don't want to get too niche right? So we ask it, then actually came out that, where do we have it? Yeah, it was one of those personas here. We can go down. So we had two personas, the glow seeker and the blemish fighter. So the blemish fighter, core desires, clear skin, she embarrassed by adult acne and frustrated it hasn't gone away, wants something that comes without drying, right? She's 25 to 44 primarily. Her skin concerns, hormonal breakouts, blemishes, large pores, and so on and so on. There's so much content here messaging wise that I can incorporate into our ads, okay? So when I have this document, I can use that document. And what we have in Claude, or when we use Claude, we do projects, okay? And in the projects, when I do personas, I also do like another thing, right? So if I go to my projects, I go to something called the brand design DNA analyzer. And basically what I do here is, here's like a prompt that basically tells him, hey, you're a senior creative strategist, consumer psychologist, and so on and so on. Analyze the website and give me like a brand DNA document. This helps us later on in other projects like a static headline or like a UGC writer, that the projects understand what this brand is about, right? So I also have like an instruction you can see here, because instructions are important so that the project itself knows what to do. Then I could throw in, for example, I mean, we could do it, right? So we go this place, throw it in, please analyze following brand for me. You can use Sonnet 4.6 or you can even go to Opus 4.7, whatever you prefer. I mean, Opus 4.7, you will definitely burn through your credits. We can click on it and we just let it work, all right? In the end, we're gonna have like a text document that we can prepare, all right? So we can also go to the projects again. And we also, what we have, for example, we have setting headline copywriter, which I already have for this one here, like for this brand. And as you can see, I have here displays the complete brand intelligence analysis. Basically what I just did, I just like finished it up already. And I also have like a comprehensive context document about static headlines copywriting. Basically, this document explains how you should write static headlines. And it's based on different YouTube videos about people talking copywriting. It's based on breakthrough advertising and so on. And it also has, again, instructions. Your role is to help generate the highest performing direct response, blah, 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 blah. It actually explains what needs to be done. Okay. So if I go back here, for example, and I would throw in the example that I had with the blemish fighter, I posted here like this document from the Claude project from the chat I had about the personas. Hey, please, let's come up with 5 different headlines for the blemish fighter that you see in here. And again, I posted the document about the blemish fighter and then the product. So it has product references. And then I basically get like, you know, my first headlines. The first headline is a pain point plus solution, a reframe. Adult acne isn't cleansing problem. It's an inflammation problem. As you can see, adult acne was something like, it wasn't a core desire, but a core issue that people had. And we're talking about it. That statistics driven authority, clinical study, 98% less inflammation, 28 days. This is based on a research on really science that the brand did that Claude got as an information from the product page. So we know for a fact with this product that 98% less inflammations will occur after 28 days. As you can see, we're pretty fast in generating headlines and we can then reiterate headlines here too, right? So this is amazing. So our first step was understanding the customer audience, then creating a project that helps us writing static headlines. And then we just have to ask him, hey, give me for that product and for that persona, new static headlines, all right? And so, you know, it's a very fast process to do so. We're currently working on a new tool, which I currently call the brief generator. I'm just gonna show it to you. So what we do here is we can click off a new brief. And basically what you have here is you have the training data with different products, angles, preferences, writing skills, personas, and so on, okay? And if I go to a new briefing, I can basically select the persona I want. For example, Diana, a highly educated university professor living in the suburbans, and so on and so on. I'm gonna select a product, which is, for example, the micro drink cola from Water Drop, a different kind of ours. The angle could be a soda replacement. And then I look through here, different, let's say ads. I'm just gonna click on them here, here, here. And then I can generate briefings. And basically everything I did in Claude, I'm doing here now, okay? So I have reference images, I have the persona, I have the product I'm talking about, I have the angle I talked about, and in the training data, I have, again, brand analyzing DNA that I did in Claude. And now it's generating all these briefs. This will take maybe a little bit, so we don't have to wait. We can already go to briefings that are generated. For example, here, I did those yesterday, and we can now click in. And the cool thing is here, for example, we have an image with then the reference structure, your daily cola reimagined. 0 sugar, 6 essential vitamins, calorie-free, no artificial preservatives, up to 98% less plastic, because this is based on a persona, right? She's like very sustainable. We could also like redefine with Claude if needed. And the cool thing here is basically I could click on share and share the whole briefings that I like generated with my designer. The designer then has like, you know, an overview. This is like how it should look like. This is like the copy I want. If I want to, you know, iterate the copy, I could iterate it if I want, and so on. So I basically show you how you can do it with Claude, but also how you created, you know, a tool where we can generate it and then I can send it to my designer. So the next question is then most probably, oh, well, now I have this copy, right? So what am I doing actually next? Because I have the copy, right? So you could actually go back here and ask for visual guidance and tell me, hey, what visuals could I use? Or what I would tell you if you're like a freelancer, a solopreneur, or whatever, you don't know how to design things basically, right? We're working with bigger brands, but in case you need assistance there, I would personally probably go, I'm not affiliated with them. I would personally go to Creative OS, get me the, what is it? It's $15 where you get basically access to a ton of templates, right? And then you're basically just like choosing one of those templates. You can copy those to Canva or you can copy those to Figma. And then you're just like exchanging the copy and the images that you have. If you don't have images, because I showed you, right, all these images here, and all these images that I generated are actually AI generated. I mean, this is like obvious, it's AI generated. This is not too obvious, but it's AI generated. And it's one of those ads we had for the Blemish Fighter, where we say the cream that takes a different approach for your hormonal breakouts. And let me quickly explain why we use that here, what's actually happening, right? So hormonal breakouts was one of the things the target audience hated. And then also like one of the other things is for this audience is that basically people are using and have tested and used so many products and nothing helped. And they basically just like looking for the one solution to make them confident again, to make them glow again, to make them happy again, and so on, you know? And in the visual, you can basically see on the left side a ton of product, and here's just the glow, the solution, right? And we're saying the cream that takes a different approach for your hormonal breakouts. And this ad is absolutely crushing for us, okay? And then also like this ad, which is like the top performer that we're having. I mean, we had just like a cutout of it, okay? Basically a cutout. And this is basically, you know, a Dutch oven that you're like using above like a fireplace to cook something. We generated that to like really have this like, you know, you're in your garden, you want to do something new outside, outdoor. We just want to be like very natural. And we generated that because one of the biggest issues is what brands have. They don't have like a process on how to generate images. Neither with AI, but you know, pre-AI didn't have like a process on how to do photo shootings and everything. So basically we had to think about how could we make cool assets. And now with AI, we can do a ton of assets and be very fast and good in production. And I mean, you would never think that this is AI, right? And how we do it is we use Freepik. I love Freepik. I'm not an Higgsfield evangelist, you know, I don't know. I just don't like it. I go with Freepik. It just works amazingly well. And for example, here for our brand, Jones Road, you can see what we're generating, right? So there's like a ton of things that we're actually doing. For example, here the mother with the hero kit. And the thing is, as soon as we understand who the persona is, we know who we wanna talk to. So let's, for example, go back here to the Figma, jump to Jones Road. So we have the same product here, which is the mini miracle bomb, all right? And we wanna talk to 3 different personas. First of all, we wanna talk to like a more Gen Z style creative director, right? Part, like younger people. Then we wanted to talk to someone like more adult, mature woman who is like very professional. She's like very successful. And then to a young mother. So basically what we see here is we have a young Gen Z with her headphones in the plane, right? And she says, it took me 60 seconds to match with my shade. And now I'm bringing this bomb everywhere, podcast, brand trips, and photo shoots, right? She's a young creative strategy, creative director, Gen Z using the product. Then we're having, let's go back, the businesswoman, right? So we can see here, walk off the plane ready for your first board meeting. So, you know, the language matches the persona and the visuals matches what the persona actually used to see quite often in her life, right? And then we're having like, you know, a mother, when she's had like a newborn or a small child, it's like she has to do quite a lot of things at the same time, right? So the first thing that we saw in this persona, she just doesn't have enough time to take care of herself. And sometimes she just wanna, you know, feel beautiful again. Then we're saying, Mom, this is your new 30-second glow. So we are basically hitting right into the heart here with the right image. And again, these images are AI generated and you wouldn't know because it's so good. And how we do it basically, if we have the idea, we go into Freepik, we can basically see here what we did for Jones Road. I mean, this is again for the businesswoman, right? Here, another one. So basically you can go here and see this is our prompt, a close-up, eye level, blah, blah, blah. And if you don't have to be the best prompter, right? You can go back to Claude and let it prompt. One tip, I have it in my last video, right? You can go to Pinterest, for example. Let us quickly go to Pinterest together. Then I can go to skincare and then I can see maybe different images. For example, this one. And then I can just copy it. I could go to Claude. You can make a project for that too. I'm gonna copy it. I'm just gonna say, hey Claude, please write me a prompt explaining this very specific image. Please ignore the product because we wanna exchange the product with our product, and we're gonna use that for Nano Banana so we can make a similar product image or like a lifestyle image for our product. We just throw it in and it's most probably gonna spit us out a pretty good prompt. And then you can use that prompt, go to Freepik and just like let it drip, all right? Let's use it. I haven't used that yet, okay? Let's go to Freepik, then I can put it in here. I could now add a product, use that one. It's now a top image, but doesn't matter. We can add that. We use Nano Banana, we click on generate. Now it will take a couple seconds to generate it and then we'll see how good it worked, right? But that's how I would do it. You can go to Pinterest, you can use Instagram, right? Save things like screenshot them, like make a library of assets, or just be creative. You could even go to the static headlines that we created for this place and just ask me, give me a visual direction for it. So here we are. And basically we can see the product here. It looks already pretty good, all right? What I see here, what I haven't thought about is probably this mark here, right? Because the product looks different. I should have definitely told him to remove that, you know, but those are iterations and learnings that you see and that you can quickly, through the edit image button, you can exchange, all right? And as you can see, we're generating tons of it until we find the perfect one, but it's still, you know, the fastest way to do so. And you can see how fast I did that. And I could go back and this is like, you know, the image that we had, it's from Rode as we can see, and basically we just generated. So, and this is when you then use Creative OS or whatever, you can download it, go to Figma or Canva and put those things together, all right? So, and the same thing in general, you can use for, let's go to projects again. You can use for UGCs, all right? So I have here a UGC copywriter for another brand. Again, we have the brand DNA here. We have again, a framework on how to write script writing and instruction, how to do it. Here, I asked him to do like scripts for retro runners. And when we open it up, I got a document with everything, okay? Here, the script strategy, I have 2 scripts. Here, script run, but it's like now in German, okay? With my hooks, with my hook variations, with the body. Obviously, we always have problem, discovery, proof, emotional payoff, and then the CTA, right? And we always can send those to our creators. Some of it you could also like already do with AI, like especially the hooks. There's like cool stuff you could do with AI, with Seedream 2.0, right? That's how basically we're doing UGCs. And the thing is, the better you are in understanding copywriting, emotional psychology, the better you can use AI because you can teach AI on how you want to do stuff. Therefore, you're raising the level of execution of quality for AI, all right? And now you do understand that when we just look back at the last 20 minutes of these videos, I love to say that, but basically AI won't replace us, but AI can duplicate myself, right? I can almost duplicate myself because I can increase my output drastically and heavily based on teaching AI and based on using AI. So I have a lot of output. I have a lot of like variations that I can use, like with those assets, messaging, persona based. I can work through information and get like, you know, learnings out of information very quickly, very fast, because you need persona based creative strategy is like the most important thing. So visually we need to talk to the persona, but also like in the messaging, we need to talk to the persona. And well, that's my process for creating AI ads, right? So we went through actually understanding the persona through research, creating headlines in projects. You can do your own tool, right? Generating images. How do I get inspiration from images? How do I turn those inspirations into actual prompts to use it for my product? And then on how to do ads, right? So we have designers. Our designers then do everything here in Figma. As you can see, they put those together within the brand guidelines and everything. You could go to the ads library and look for images there and how to recreate them right here. So my creative strategists are like doing all this pre-work, and then we have the production. Okay, that's basically on how we do it. It simply helps you to do more of what already works, okay? So if you don't have strong foundations, you won't find more winners through AI, okay? AI is not a shortcut. AI helps you create more stuff of things that work, which is why my entire approach is built around persona-based creative strategy infused with AI, okay? And because of that, brands that work with us seen an average 20 to 30% drop in CAC, okay? While scaling their revenue. So if you're a brand spending over 100K a month on ads and you want to scale, just reach out to me. You're gonna find the link in the description, and see you in the next video.